Okay, so the Meta Ray-Bans might just be the most futuristic gadget that I've used all year, and that's saying a lot because I use a lot of tech. These things can shoot point of view video, take calls, talk to AI, play music, and they just look like actual stylish sunglasses, and not something from like a cyberpunk Etsy shop or a gadget that you'd only wear at a tech convention. They're actually nice shades. For every moment that feels genuinely magical, there's something else that makes me wonder, like, who are these really for? So today we're diving into what the Meta Smart Glasses get absolutely right, and well, what they still get hilariously wrong. First off, the biggest benefit as a content creator is having a camera literally built into your glasses. It's pretty wild. Like, imagine walking into a farmer's market or a grocery store, anywhere you're at, pressing a button and boom, you got cinematic B-roll from your perspective without having to like awkwardly juggle your phone or fear that you're annoying everyone around you recording. The effortless capture is something I didn't know I needed until I tried it, and also I'm someone that's kind of leery about recording in public, but getting these kind of shots for product reviews and getting that POV field of view is really useful for what I do here on YouTube. It makes documenting life feel way more natural because you're not fiddling with the device or interrupting your flow. Recently my son was born and we're at the hospital, and I'm not having to worry about putting the phone in his face. I can just hit record and I get a cool POV of me holding my son for the first time, or playing with my daughter, or just anything. Of course, like I said, tech reviews and stuff that I do for work. This point of view is really cool. Then there's the audio. These are basically AirPods on your face, but with way less isolation, if that makes sense. The open ear design means you can listen to music, podcasts, or take calls without completely tuning out the world around you, which once again is very useful being a dad, having to stay on alert and hear when my daughter needs help or my son's crying or someone's into something they shouldn't be into. Having the ability to still, watch my YouTube videos or listen to music and clean around the house, but be alert is very valuable. And honestly, the sound quality is surprisingly crisp. Like, it's not bad. Like, I was expecting for it to be like, this is okay, but I've used other like open ear headphones, like the OpenFit, for example. I have a pair of the OpenFit earbuds that I use sometimes for walking around or going to the gym, and these actually sound pretty comparable, if not better, in my opinion. Another thing that was pretty surprising is that you don't have that frustrating like Bluetooth lag when you're watching videos and the audio cuts out randomly or it's out of sync with the person that's talking on your screen. They sync up perfectly and it works really well. Walking down the street or doing chores felt way smoother with this kind of subtle yet high quality sound playing from my sunglasses to my ears. Also, when it comes to the sound quality, it sounds very good to me, but you can kind of hear it subtly. If someone's standing next to you, they can hear it a little bit if you have the volume turned up. Let me go and give you a test right now. So this is 50% with the directional microphone pointing right at it. This is 100% right here. This is probably like 25%. And it's low for me too. I can hear probably everything else more than I can hear the music at this point. But it's like subtly there. It's like kind of having like your own background music. This is like 10%. Probably can't hear it at all at this point. And when it comes to Meta's AI, I have to admit, it works. Like, it works pretty well. And for the stuff that you would expect for it to work well with, like asking the weather or things like that. But the stuff that kind of blew me away or like made me realize that, oh no, these have a camera and they can see what I see, is when you ask it to look at the world around you. I've only used it specifically for situations like, hey, what kind of tree is this? Just to test it out. Like, and it'll tell me like, oh, that's a Japanese fern. Like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And then also like my wife speaks Spanish, so I tried the translate feature, and it actually does work pretty well in tandem with the phone app, so that way it can speak the language to the other person and you hear the translation in your ear. And there is of course a little bit of a delay, not delayed necessarily, because they're talking really to your shades and then your shades are telling you what they're saying, so you have to wait for them to finish speaking. It tells you what they said and then you speak your response into the phone, and then it comes out of the phone and they can hear it. So it's a different way of having a conversation, but it definitely works. It's like having a super knowledgeable assistant right there on your face versus having to pull out your phone and ask it or something like that. Like, it's already there in your face, so you just ask the question and it gives you the answer. And the promise of this is huge, even if it's not perfect right now. It does feel more so like it's like connected to the internet versus being full-blown AI, if that makes sense. So like, you know, Google Lens or a lot of those other things out there that already exist that allow you to search the internet, you have access to it on your face. But it does kind of give you an idea of what the future of this could be. Like the other day we went to a brewery and I looked up at the sign and I said, hey, what are some of the best drinks that this place is known for? And it was able to tell me that this is a brewery and they specialize in craft beers and this and that. But it didn't give me an answer to my question because maybe that information isn't on the net. Maybe it wasn't able to scour reviews of the place and see what people are suggesting that, you know, you should try. It was able to just kind of tell me what it was, like where it was and what it was. But it's cool, but I feel like it could be so much better. But one of the biggest surprises with this product when I first saw them on the internet, of course, like I said, I'm a little bit late to this, but I was surprised about how normal they look. You know, finally smart glasses that don't make you look like you're walking around like you're a walking tech demo. They're just genuine Ray-Bans, you know, classic style. This is the Wayfarer design, you know, good weight. They don't feel super heavy on your face. It's a good fit, feels natural on my face at least. And I got compliments from people who didn't even realize that I was wearing smart glasses. I've been told that this caramel is perfect with my skin complexion, but you guys can let me know down below in the comments. But it's a pretty big deal, the fact that, you know, when you're trying to merge tech with your everyday wearability and products, the fact that you can have tech in something like this is pretty dope. Considering the fact that these have been out for what, a year, 2 years, I don't know how long they've been out, but they've been out for a while. And I was a little bit hesitant in the beginning because I do suffer from a disability, and it is a cranial endowment. Like, I have a big head, right? So I was like, man, those are cool, but I don't know if I'd be able to ever wear them because typically, you know, Ray-Bans don't look the best on my face, especially like the normal Wayfarers that people get. And I did opt to get the large, and I think they look pretty normal on me. And I'm happy to say that I can be a proud owner of Ray-Bans. And if you're out there, you suffer from your cranial endowment like me, you have a big head, these will work for you because I wear like a size 8 in fitted hats. And this looks normal on my face. And of course, let's not forget, most importantly, the battery life and the case. The Meta Ray-Bans come with a recharge case that's easy to carry around and charge. It charges itself through USB-C. And of course, it charges your glasses up a few times as well. And I do notice that the charging speeds are fairly fast. The glasses last, I wouldn't say all day. They last, depending on what you're using them for. If you're listening to music here and there, if you're asking a question here and there, then you probably get a little bit more out of it. But if you're doing long, you know, listening sessions of music, you're doing a lot of translating, you're recording video a lot and capturing photos, you're probably gonna get like 30, 45 minutes out of these tops. And then you have to pop them back in the case to get a quick charge. I don't find the fact that you have to charge them to the case, you know, I don't think that's a detractor, because, you know, you put sunglasses in cases anyway. So when you're not outside in the sun, you just take them off and put them in the case. I can see it maybe being an issue for people that have like prescription versions of these, or have the transition where you wanted to wear them indoors more. But, you know, considering I just go outside and I don't typically wear shades indoors, it's easy for me to pop them off, put them in the case, and they're back to 100% in no time. But it's nice to not be scrambling for like a plug midday or worried about your glasses dying during your morning walk. But then also, if they do die, they're still shades, so they still work. But of course, no gadget is perfect. Let's talk about some of the things that I think are areas of opportunity. The biggest drawback, of course, is the lack of any kind of display. You've seen it with, you know, even realities, ton of different AI glasses out there, and they have different implementations where they have like a little display that's at the top frame, or they have it projected on the lens itself. There's a ton of different ways that this could be evolved with version 2, version 3. But I find myself wanting to see something a lot of times with the notifications, photos, and, you know, navigation. It'd be cool to actually have like some type of indication, like, you know, what's happening, or even if like translating, for instance, having the translation on my lens would be awesome. But in the same breath, I do kind of also like not seeing notifications, but it would be cool in this situation where I did need a notification, or I didn't, for instance, you know, walking turn by turn directions. It'd be nice to be able to see that on this on the lens itself versus, you know, just hearing it. And to be honest, it feels a little incomplete because you're still relying on your phone for a lot of that visual stuff, and missing that visual feedback makes you wonder if these are really the future, or just, you know, very fancy Bluetooth headset that happens to have a camera. And the voice control for me is another sticking point. Meta's AI is helpful when it gets you, you know, what you want, but it can be clunky at times. Sometimes it mishears commands or doesn't respond exactly how you would expect. It's not quite at the level where it replaces your phone's personal assistant, especially like I said, the new Google Assistant with Pixel. It's not on that level at all. But you end up repeating yourself or falling back on your phone in those situations where it does fall short. And there's also this whole privacy vibe around these glasses. Like, a lot of people, of course, don't recognize these as smart glasses, but there are a fair amount of people out there that do, considering that these have been out for a while and people know, what they are. And let's be real, no one around you really knows if you're filming or not. I mean, of course, there's a little light, and the capture light is tiny. It's easy to miss, but if you know, kind of like for people that know, like, oh, you're not recording me, your light isn't flashing. But for people that don't know, they may think that you're just recording them for whatever reason. But I assure you, if you see me out in public, I am not recording you. You are not that important to me. Most of the time, I'm just recording my kids or using them for work somehow. But I can understand how it can make people feel uncomfortable or suspicious. It's definitely something to consider if you're thinking about wearing these in public or more private settings. But it is what it is. And then there's the price. At over $300, you're paying for convenience and a cool factor, but not a full phone replacement. It's a tough sell unless you're someone who's constantly creating content or traveling and really values having hands-free capture. I was able to snag these refurbished for about $260, so if you're looking to save a few bucks, I'd recommend going that route. Finally, the app ecosystem does feel pretty limited. These glasses are clearly built with Instagram and Facebook in mind, but beyond that, the app support isn't great. You're not getting much third-party functionality yet, and without broader ecosystem support, the glasses feel like a niche device rather than an essential device. I do wish also with the video capture that you could have different aspect ratios. I want to have 16:9, 9:16, maybe 4:3, but it'll be nice to have different aspect ratios, especially for delivering content and creating content on different platforms. So here's where I land. The Meta Ray-Bans are fun, they're futuristic, and they genuinely shine in certain moments. They look way cooler than any other wearable I've tested, and when you're out and about capturing video or listening to music, they really do make life a bit easier. But they're not ready to replace your phone, your camera, or your AI assistant. So 3 of the things that these are marketed to do, they don't do any of them extremely well to the point where you can replace the traditional option. Not yet, at least. Right now, they're more of a lifestyle gadget than a life upgrade. If you go into this knowing that you're getting a glimpse into the future, an accessory that's cool and convenient but with limitations, you're probably gonna have a lot of fun using them, but don't go into this expecting to never use your phone again. But enough of my opinion. What do you actually think about these? Are smart glasses something that you'd actually wear, or are these like still more of a cool to look at but weird to live with kind of gadget? Let me know down below in the comments. If this video helped you out at all, don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. But yeah, until next time, stay fresh. Thank you for watching. Peace.